the new lectures of the economy. So let's start with the new lectures and new subject today, the human development. So in the previous one of the topic we have seen the economic growth and economic development. So today we will talk about the human development. So let's see. So what is meant by the human development and some of the indicators to assess the human development conditions of the world and India as well. So some of the indicators is very vital. First of all, what is meant by human development? So development is another little bit has some sort of the differences with the economic growth. Economic growth is about the quantitative numbers, and these quantitative numbers, when be reflected into the overall improving condition of the social and economic condition of the country is. So let's see the economic development. So how do we assess, which are the indicators to assess the human development? So it is very important issue or important subject for the UPSC prelim and UPSC mains. So let's see some of the indicators to assess the economic or human development. So first of all, some of the two criteria or two indicators have been. First indicator, social indicators are there, and economic indicators. So let's see the first economic indicators here. The educational condition of the country is one of the foremost parameters. If we want to assess the overall development of the country, then we need to find the literacy data, overall educational condition of the country, from which we can know the overall development condition of the country. So especially in the educational condition, so which are the important things? So in the educational condition, so which are the numbers are very vital to assess? First and foremost important, literacy rate of the male and female. So literacy rate of the male and female, as well as literacy rate of male and female. Then another, the enrollment ratio is also one of the key. Enrollment ratio is also one of the key factors. There's as well as dropout ratio. So this is also one of the key factors to assess the dropout ratio, enrollment ratio, literacy rate of the both female and male. So this is one of the key things of the ratio of teachers to students. Means how many students, how many teachers are available. So it is one of the key again. So let's see these are for the educational indicators: literacy rate, enrollment ratio, dropout ratio, and ratio of the teachers to student is very vital to understand. From these we can assess or we can measure condition of the country. The next one in the list is health. So health is again one of the key factor here. So how we can assess the health condition of the people? So to assess the individual's health condition, it is very easy to understand. Means from the measuring the height and weight, we can assess the overall healthy or unhealthy condition of the persons. But here is the question about the measuring the health of the overall whole country. So how do we assess? So what are the criteria to assess the overall health of the country? So one of the key criteria to assess the country's health is to assess the life expectancy rate. One of the key important factor, life expectancy rate. Then life expectancy here. Second one is a MMR. Third one CMR. MMR, CMR means mother mortality rate, child mortality rate. So these are the some of the, actually not all of the, but some of the criteria to assess the health conditions. From these we can know the overall condition of the country's development. So human development. So human development is very much very debatable. Actually, why debatable? Because every country, especially the politician, has laid down the different criteria to assess their development. Actually, strategically they do these things to fool the country's population or citizen. But that is not a reality in economics. In economics we need to assess. So overall overall condition of the health and education is very important. So next one is the growth of the population. Growth of the population is one of the another factors. Means again, it is a very controversial subject. To growth of the population to growth of the population especially is used to assess. Means India has having the healthy growth of the population. That means India is having good growth rate or the human development, and the Russians or most of the European countries are struggling to keep up with their growth of their population. So that not mean, but the handy growth should be there. Means population must be grown to to survive on this planet. We need to grow. We need to rise in the numbers, especially for most important uh, in economics. So always we talk about the rise in the raise or increase in the overall production income in the economies, but to raise the economy, the population must have the support, good support, and the handy population means especially handy population means active population, young population. It must be there to run the economy. So overall population is very vital to have the good human development. Human development, the growth of population. So if you see some of the countries like in China, China is having the same kind of the economic growth rate of the population like India. But if you see the Russia and most of the European countries are in the going into the negative mode to negative mode of the population growth. So it is not a good sign for their countries in the upcoming futures or upcoming years. So this was one of the factors. So next one in the list is a gender related rates. So again, the country's economy is run by the both the genders. Means to be a very good country, to be a very healthy country, to be a very developed country, the participation in the economy from the both sector means especially we are concerning with gender, especially both the genders must equally contribute into the economy or the grown, because in every country most 50% population comes from the female. So female population are contributing in the economy is very vital. Means their contribution in the economy is very vital to assess. Means here we are not talking about the development of the country. Here we are discussing the human development. So if the country is grown, if you see some of the countries like Gulf countries, the economically they are very much grown over the years, last in 20, 35, 40 years especially. Their increase, substantial increase, huge. Actually, they have outclass in the every field of the development. But as far as human development is concerned, so how much female population is contributing in their economy, how much issues. So these are the some of the social factors to indicate, or social factors to learn about the human development. So let's talk about the second section of the rise in the or national income. So national income of the people, national income of the country must be grown. So suppose support their education, their health. So this is why the income is very one of the key factors in the development of the human, and country must be grown. So as a country, as India, as we know that in the last few years, we are always on the march of the development. So we have been grown substantially, but the case with India is very altogether different, because uh, disparity is very huge here. So this is not a discussion point here. We are talking about the just about the national income. So now to assess to raise the development these facilities and available facilities especially. The second one in important things here, per capita income. Per capita income again, there would be growth in the national income as well as the per capita income also must be risen. So if you compare our country's economies or per capita income of the other parts of the world, we are discussing here some of the things, but very minimal, means about 1 lakh rupees actually, according to some of the government data. We are about to touch 1 lakh per year annum per capita income, and most of the developed countries is having the more than 10 lakh, 15 lakh, sometimes 18 lakh, 1 crore per capita income. Means we are one of the um, means actually middle class country, we can say, as far as overall per capita income is concerned. So $2,000, up to $2,000 we have per capita income as per the some of the World Bank and IMF data. So this is very vital. Third one, here's inequality. Inequality can be assessed by Lorentz curve and Gini index. So these are the two things are used to assess the income inequality. As we know that the just 10% of our country's economy having the more than 70% wealth, means it is a huge difference, or a huge kind of the inequality is seen in India, as and most of the developed countries are having the same kind of the inequality and disparity. But India is altogether different case. We have the huge population, we have the exceptional country in the world, and the government. Fourth one is the level of poverty. Level of poverty, another issue. So according to some of the government data, India is having more than 40%, around the 40% people in India living below poverty line. But some of the World Bank data, and if we compare the other parts of the world and international BPL line, then definitely our population in the BPL would be grown. So huge again, poverty is one of the key issue. We will talk about it in the next lecture. Thank you.